We've come to the final system. The final system to harmonize within ourselves, to become closer to that proper Khalifatullah, the proper representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So far we've built a very strong foundation to reclaim our purpose in this world, to feel like we're in this world for a reason. In the past couple of nights we've been exploring the essential systems that we need to tame and maintain to shape that character that we want to become, that representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We began with the system of beliefs which organizes the mind, and we spoke about how our worldview shapes the meaning that we give to our experience, and I'm going to give you a powerful example about this in a moment. We spoke about the system of values and our ethics, and that ultimately you're a representative. You need to carry yourself like a representative. There's a character that you need to play in this world that needs to uphold that you're a Khalifatullah. And we spoke about how we have to tame the desire within us, the unlimited desire and the unlimited anger, to be able to portray this beautiful character. Now, brothers and sisters, the example I wanted to share with you is the example of, like, if I asked you right now, would you rather be in prison or would you rather be free? What is the answer? You'd rather be free, right? Of course, you'd rather be free rather than be in prison. But this all depends on the system of beliefs. This preference depends on how you see the world. For example, if you are Nabi Yusuf living in the palace of Zulaykha and Potiphar, and you are being questioned and threatened, and your modesty is at stake, then no, you would rather prison, to be alone with God, to feel like you are safe from sin. Imprisonment is freedom, because that's where He has power and free will. See, the system of beliefs plays a huge role in what you perceive as freedom. We've understood the power of the system of the mind, the system which tames the mind. We spoke about the system which tames the heart. Now we want to talk about a very important system in contemporary times and modern day times. We really have misunderstood this system. It's very misrepresented, this system. And it's extremely powerful to become more aware of this system. And this is the system of jurisprudence. So you have a body in this world, you have this vessel, but this vessel it's like water. You put water in this bottle, it takes the shape of this bottle. You put water in a jug, it takes the shape of a jug. Your soul is not from this world, it's something special. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put you in this world, in this vessel. When you move on to the next world, you still exist, you're just in another vessel, in another body. In this world, you need a system to tame this body. Or else, you're going to go for your desire and for your anger. For those instinctive drives within you that you share with an animal. This system of law and this system of regulation is not an oppressive system. Salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not benefit from you doing or not doing. Brothers and sisters, if you were to right now abide by this law that we're going to share with you guys today, Allah doesn't benefit. He's put this system for you because He understands what you need. And there are things that you don't understand. We didn't create this body. We didn't create this mind, and we didn't create this heart. We don't know what they need. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did create it. He knows what they need. So when it comes to how do I behave in this world, you need the creator of the body to tell you how to use this body. So firstly, we're going to be talking in a number of points tonight, inshallah. First, we want to understand what do we mean by jurisprudential system? What do we mean by system of behavior and controlling our behavior? The second is we want to talk about the different domains and inshallah, different ways of regulating and how this sharia, like we spoke about yesterday with the system of values and ethics, how this sharia is intertwined. Everything is connected. Inshallah, by the end of the talk, everything will make sense. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. In terms of this sharia, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it clear. He says, Inna deen and Allah al-Islam. That when it comes to the system of beliefs, Tawheed, Nubuwah, Imamah, Ma'ad and Adl, believing in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believing in the justice of Allah, believing in the hereafter, believing in the prophets, this belief is what we call deen, religion, in terms of our worldview and the system of beliefs. This worldview, this system of belief is shared by every single prophet. No two prophets had different beliefs. All of their beliefs were built on Tawheed. What differed between prophets was Sharia. Was how do I maneuver in this world? Remember, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Adam alayhi salam to begin the prophetic mission, he brought down religion in phases and in stages. He didn't throw religion at people all at once. Even in the mission of the Prophet, he didn't start come the first day the Prophet, you have to pray, you have to fast, you have to go to Hajj, you have to read Quran, you can't do this. No, it was for years and years till he started to share, you have to do this, you can't do this, it's haram to do this. Sharia evolved over time. Islam, it's like the Holy Prophet came with the final stamp of Islam. The religion of Islam was evolving from Nabi Adam to Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, to Nabi Yaqub, to Nabi Yusuf, all the way to Nabi Allah. When it came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Sharia was completed. With Rasulullah, Sharia was now so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had unfolded and finally passed on not only all of the system of beliefs in religion, but also the akhlaq. إِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. He gave you the perfect example of the Holy Prophet. So he gave you the system of beliefs, the example of the Prophet, and then he told you, all right, this is how you have to behave in this world. I was actually listening to a lecture last night for Brother Hassan al-Najab Ali. He said something beautiful. He said, if you were to look at something like alcohol, which is an obvious, clear-cut drug. No one can debate that alcohol is a drug. Of course it's a drug. It's an intoxicant drug that ruins societies. If an alien came from now outer space, he's never seen humans. He comes down to earth and he sees every religion on earth says you can drink alcohol. All the societies, everyone is drinking alcohol. There's only one group of people that say alcohol is not allowed, and that is Islam. Had we, boys, brothers, sisters, had we not been born into Islam, there would have nothing would have come and told us you can't drink alcohol. We need something to tell us, hold on, you can't do this. Because your nafs might want it, you might desire it, but ultimately it's going to be destructive for you. So, tonight we're going to delve into the Sharia, and it's not just about halal and haram and wajib and mustahab, and if you don't do this you're going to go to hell, and if you do this you're going to go to heaven, if you don't do this you're going to get lashed. And please put all of that aside. If you and I were to pray from now till next week, up and down, all night, all day, God does not benefit. He didn't create you and I so he can put us in hell. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't create us and say, you know what, this is going to be hectic. I'm going to make them pray 5 times a day. I'm going to make them do Hajj. I can't wait till they make a mistake so I can punish them for it. That's not how God works. Remember Hur, who stopped Imam Hussein from drinking water? All he had to do was come to Abu Abdullah and say, I'm sorry, I'm the one that did 1, 2, 3. Imam Hussein said, I forgive you. Imagine the God of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And your behavior, is it even close to stopping the grandchildren of Rasulullah from drinking water? If you could just take this one lesson from all of this Muharram, you change your life. That there's nothing that I can do ever that will push God away from me, ever. So when I'm telling you this is the system of beliefs, please don't interpret it in the way where, oh God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, angels waiting for you to make a mistake. So he wants you to go to heaven. He's saying, I'm giving you this system because if you don't have a system, you will fall off track and you won't even know it. And this system, my brothers and sisters, is a holistic system. This system of Islamic law, of jurisprudence, that taps into how we want to behave in this world has 4 domains. Let's firstly mention what are these 4 domains. Subhanallah, look at do you remember a couple of nights ago we mentioned Imam Khomeini and we said that Islam looks at Imam Khomeini's response to the journalist. He says Islam looks at the human being as a Khalifatullah. Islam looks at the human being in all of his different aspects, all of his different paradigms. Look at the 4 domains of law that Islam comes and speaks about. And this is like a test. I test you, I challenge you to find anything that falls outside of these 4 categories. The first category is Islamic law comes to regulate humans' relationship with himself. That's number 1. The second relationship is the relationship with God. The third relationship it comes to regulate is your relationship with society. And the fourth relationship is the relationship with nature and environment. There's nothing outside of these 4 categories. So Islam taps into all of this, and it's comprehensive. That's the beauty about Islam. It looks at you as a whole character, as a whole human being, with all of these different facets. So let's break down these 4 domains. We'll give some examples. In terms of regulating the human's relationship with himself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala places a huge emphasis on self-care and taking care of yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Sharia, through the Sharia, He provides guidelines for your eyes, for your ears, for your tongue, what to say, what you can't say, what you shouldn't listen to, what you shouldn't eat, where you shouldn't go. And the Holy Prophet has a beautiful hadith. Remember how we said, you're a spiritual being in a physical vessel? Look what the Prophet says. He says, your body has a right over you, has a haqq over you. Meaning on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to say, hey, remember that gift I gave you, that body that was different to every other creation? What'd you do with it? I gave you a body that you can create and innovate and be creative and be powerful and ambitious. And you went and be intoxicated yourself. That's what you went to do. So your body has a haqq over you. Number 2, in terms of regulating one's relationship with Allah, places for you a spiritual program. A lot of people want to connect to God. Not many people know how to connect to God. The term spirituality and the term, being spiritual is a very mainstream term. A lot of people use it. People use it in the context of meditation. People use it in the context of mindfulness. People use it in the context of, so many different contexts. But that just goes to show that we're thirsty for spirituality. Everyone is trying to feel spiritual, but how do we do it? People place it in being silent and mindful. Just focus on your breathing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes and says, no, there's an actual way to do this. Had we not had Sharia, we wouldn't know. We wouldn't quench that thirst. Islam taps into your business transactions. It taps into marriage. How marriage should be conducted. How divorce should be conducted. How inheritance should be conducted. Specifics. So no one's right can be usurped and taken from another person. Look at the system that we have today, the legal system that we have today. It's created by man, and that's why you see so much fault in the system. That's why you see so many people getting away with so much, and so many people that are placed in prison and uncomparable to the people that are getting away with. It's a system that if you have a lot of money and you have a strong lawyer, you might get away with taking someone's haqq. In God's system, there's none of that. When it comes to creating that harmony and that regulation in society, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts those laws and rules and regulations. Number 4, regulating one's relationship with nature and environment. It's so powerful to know that in the middle of Arabia, in the year 600, there was a man by the name of Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, who came to a people who had nothing to do with cleanliness. And he transformed the way they see cleanliness and the environment and how they react with nature. If the final hour comes and you have a palm cutting in your hand and you're just about to plant a seed, he says, if the final hour comes and it's possible to plant it, plant it. Cleanliness is from faith. It's part of your identity, being clean. So these are the 4 domains. And you see that it shows that Islam is a system of life for everything that comes and tames everything. And subhanAllah, what a comprehensive system. فَتَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنُ الْخَالِقِينَ. طيب, let me give you a few examples. And I'm sure as you're listening to me, you're probably coming up with some examples yourself. For example, when it comes to taming oneself, we gave a few examples, but let's say the idea of modesty, the idea of, hey man, lower your gaze. Because we've been brought up in an environment that reminds us to lower our gaze, we take it for granted. But you know how powerful that is? If I was just a West, a person that was born in the West, have nothing to do with Islamic values, and I brought my son, I say, son, I want to remind you, you need to protect your eyes and protect your heart. You want to lower your gaze. Do not look at a woman who's not for you, who's not your wife, who's not your spouse, who's not someone that is mahram. Because it's going to cause a disease in your soul. What a wise man. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it clear. Lower your gaze. Protect your eyes. Protect your heart. Protect your mind. Protect your soul. Your ears. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, and when they hear, he's talking about the mu'min, when they hear ill speech, they turn away from it. Don't indulge in it. Like in a world today, especially with social media, it's so easy to get on the bandwagon. People talk about this person talks about that person. You get here in the WhatsApp groups. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you want to represent me, you can't be that character. When you hear someone backbiting, when you hear someone talking, just push it away. Put it aside. Speak about him in good. Put it away. That's not for you. Tame your tongue from ghiba. Tame your tongue from swearing. This tongue is the same tongue you use to say the Fatiha. The same tongue you use to pray. Refrain from it. If you can't control it 100%, at least make a conscious effort to. Same thing, for example, listening to music, hadith. That listening to vain talk that's useless, talk that's disrespectful, talk that is misguiding, it plants hypocrisy within your heart. Listening to music plants hypocrisy within your heart. You got to watch out what you're listening to. Wallah, you say to some friends like, sorry, I don't listen to music, or, I'm Muslim, I don't listen to music. Like, what is this religion? If we were to come and talk about the outcomes, the pros and the cons of listening and not listening, you realize, wow, what a wise decision. So that's number one. In terms of regulating one's relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a few examples, like we've already mentioned, salat, where you are now, what you're doing throughout your day, instead of your day just happening, you are dissecting and you're prioritizing your time around a spiritual meeting with God. What an anchor, what a powerful anchor. Every day at this time, I'm going to stop. I'm going to go and cleanse my body. So physically, I'm going to put myself into a state of wudu. And then I'm going to go sit. And I have to ensure that when I sit to pray, my intention is for God and my attention is on God. I'm being present. So that means I'm reminding myself, do not indulge in the dunya around me. At least in this time, in this period. Because every single moment of every day, your mind is working and you're just trying to seek this world. So you need a program that reminds you, hey, this is just a vessel. It's just a body. This isn't the goal. Come, I'll show you. Come pray and see what happens. See the spiritual experience that you have. Fasting. Fasting is one of the most powerful parts of our Sharia. Maryam alayhi salam fasted. But it evolved until it reached us in the way we have it today. Up until the Holy Prophet, of course. It evolved with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And today the manifestation of fasting is such a beautiful experience. I know not only are you connecting to other people and relating to the needy and the poor, not only are you exercising self-control and building empathy, but you know what you're doing? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching you that you are beyond, your true essence is beyond all stimulation. Everything you think you need to live, like water and food, you don't actually need it. You can stay all day without eating, without drinking, of course, unless you're sick or there's certain medical prohibitions. Allah doesn't allow you to fast. We're talking about a person who's capable of fasting. God tells us, stay away from it for a bit. And as a human, you see that in your essence, you're not what you consume. You're a human being. You're not a human doing. In that moment, in that experience, you're able to feel no longer dependent on the things that you're addicted to. Another example is zakat. When you give, the act of giving, especially when it's to the poor, especially when it's in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's you saying, Ya Allah, this wealth, it came from you, and I'm going to spend it in your way. It shows a physical detachment from the dunya. And then we go to our society. How does Islam tame within society our relationship with society? Business transactions. Islam is one of the only religion that practices the prohibition of riba or usury. A lot of religions have it in theory, but they all do riba. As a Muslim, we believe that you can't take interest from someone. You can't make money for no reason. You can't leverage just the fact that you have money and take advantage of other people's financial situation. For example, do you guys remember in COVID, when people were hoarding? Hoarding is one of the biggest sins. Islam doesn't allow you to hoard. People are in need of toilet paper, and there's people fighting over toilet paper and they're stealing it. That's not allowed. It's a big problem. And you saw in a society where there's no prohibitions, you saw what happened. You think that everyone's, because they're all very moral, and no. I remember I was reading in New York, I think it was like over a decade ago, there was a huge blackout for an hour or so. In 1 hour, billions and billions of dollars of wreckage in the city, because there was no car, there was no electricity. So people were going into stores, people were stealing, people were breaking and entering, all the kharab, all the ruin that you could see came out in that 1 hour. You go to South Lebanon, every 4 hours we don't have electricity. But instead you have the neighbor at the neighbor's house with the candle having a nice conversation. Akhlaq, ethics, you have something that's grounding you. But in a world where you have no ethics, no sharia grounding you, of course you're prone to that. Your desire and your anger and all of these instinctive feelings within you to claim and to get from this dunya. Instead, we have something to tame this. The system of jurisprudence comes to tame this. It says, calm down, ya ayyuhal insan. Calm down. So, for example, in our family lives, Islam goes into the depth, into the family, how a son must treat his father. Look what the Quran says. In the Holy Quran, it says, wala, from the son and the daughter to the parent. The Quran, listen, a book that God knows will stand the test of time. This book, every word in this book, in the Holy Quran, is going to stand the test of time. It's going to remain to Yawm al-Qiyamah. Look at one of the phrases that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses to put in the Quran. And do not even tell your parents. That's literally what it means. Don't even say, Muhammad, can you go throw the rubbish? Mom, not now, I'm playing. No, you can't even say, oof. Let alone scream, let alone, raise your voice and be disrespectful. You can't even say, oof. Look at one of the more important social values or things that Islam comes to put for. And actually one of the main causes of Karbala was Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy al Munkar. One of the most powerful principles in Islam is to stand up to enjoin good and to forbid evil. Islam doesn't come and say, just be a good person, pray at home. No. Your responsibility as a Khalifa, as a representative of mine, is you must enjoin good. You must forbid evil. Imam Hussein was the ultimate example of that. Regulating one's relationship with nature and environment. We mentioned a few examples. The Holy Prophet ﷺ says, if a Muslim plants a tree or sows seeds, and then a bird, listen to this, and then a bird or a person or an animal eats from this tree, it is regarded as sadaqah. Sadaqah that will always remain. Anytime someone eats, so basically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us through the Holy Prophet that you have to give to this environment as well, as much as you can. Even if there was one more moment till the day of judgment, plant the tree. SubhanAllah. not many shari'ahs have placed that much importance on the environment. So now we've had a good understanding of the four different paradigms that Islam comes to delve into. These different paradigms, they're all intertwined, they all work together. Just like we spoke about in terms of our character, in terms of our values, in terms of our virtues. You can't say, oh, I'm a very good Muslim because I'm courageous, but at the same time you're beating your children. You can't say, oh, I'm a good Muslim, I pray on time, but then you're stingy. There has to be harmony. Same way, these laws, they come and they're holistic. They all work together. When you neglect one of the aspects of Sharia, you are essentially impacting and neglecting the others. Listen to, like an example, for example, someone might come and say, my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is fine. I don't need to stand up for society. I'm doing good between me and God. Did Allah create you and neglect you? Did He just put you in this world and say, Yalla, sort yourself out? No, He created you, and from the moment that He created you, He's never stopped caring for you. He's never stopped loving. He's never stopped giving. So when He puts you in this world and He places you as His representative, is it appropriate for you to come and say, yep, I'm going to neglect the world and society, I'm just going to pray? Of course not. You're my representative. You can't say you want to uphold my khilafah as in prayer, but you don't want to do it elsewhere. It has to work together. Listen to what the Holy Prophet says. He says, Man asbaha la yahtam. Man asbaha wa la yahtam bi umur al-muslimin. Whoever wakes up and you don't care about the affairs of the Muslims, doesn't really matter to you. People are getting killed in Palestine, people aren't, doesn't even matter. I'm over it. At least, at the very least, you feel something in your heart. If you don't have that feeling in your heart, if it's like you've become cold to that, you're no longer from us. Because we're one body. We have to be one body. We have to feel each other's pain. We have to experience each other's torment and be there for each other. So that is the interconnectedness of the Sharia. And also it works the other way around. When you start to work on yourself, for example, look at this hadith by the Holy Prophet, Man amara bil ma'ruf wa naha 'anil munkar. That whoever enjoins good and whoever forbids what's evil is truly representing me. Now, we apply this more. Inna salata tanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkar. The action of prayer, just the action of prayer, if you were to uphold the action of prayer properly and experience it for what it is, then it's inevitable that this prayer is going to impact your behavior outside of prayer. That whoever in the salata, indeed prayer, upholding prayer, prohibits immorality and wrongdoing. That when you pray properly, it's going to impact how you behave with your friends, how you behave with strangers. So they're interconnected. And you also see that the Holy Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the hereafter, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the akhirah, He speaks about our behavior and our actions and the sharia in this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it manifests itself in the hereafter. What do we mean by that? Allah says, on the day where every soul will find itself confronted with all the good that it has done and all the bad that it has done. So your behavior, they call this in Arabic tajassudul a'mal. Your actions and your behavior start to come up. You start to see your behavior. And you know the hadith where if you were to backbite someone, it's as if you're eating the flesh of your brother behind their back. You start to see that reaction, you start to see that behavior for what it is. You start to see the disgusting nature of sin. One of the reasons why the Imams don't sin is because they see the disgusting nature of sin. For us, we're veiled between that, the true nature of sin. We just see someone backbiting. Sometimes we even indulge in it, because maybe it'll make you feel good or look good. Whereas the Imam sees it as disgusting for what it really is. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Imam al-Hussein, my brothers and sisters, he embodied all of Sharia in Karbala. One of the most powerful elements of the story of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam was how he applied all of these different the systems that we've mentioned, whether it was the system of beliefs, whether it was the system of character, whether it's the system of what does God want from me, the divine law, the jurisprudence. Imam Hussein showed us practically how this looks in Karbala. For example, on the night of the 10th, he knew Imam Hussein knew what was coming. He says to his brother Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam, on the night of the 10th, Umar ibn Sa'd he wants to start the war at night. Imam al-Hussein comes, he says, return to them, and if you can, delay them. Delay the war until the morning and repel them from us tonight. He says, perhaps we can pray to our Lord tonight. Perhaps we could spend the night in dua, seeking forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, look at the words he says. Inna Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, he knows that I have always loved praying to him. I have loved reciting his book. I have loved making dua frequently and seeking forgiveness. So Imam Hussein delayed the most important battle. And mind you, it would have been to Imam's benefit and advantage if he carried out the war at night. Why? Strategically speaking, because number one, it's nighttime, it's not as hot, and he has less companions, and he will be able to maneuver with the less companions and use the night. And all of the army of Umar ibn Sa'd and Ubaidullah hadn't arrived yet. There were still people coming, so it was less numbers. Strategically, it would have been easier to fight at night. Imam Hussein said no. He has a plan in mind. Number one, let me spend the night in dua. Let me spend the night, this final night on earth. I know tomorrow is my final day. I want to spend the final night in obedience, in applying the divine law. SubhanAllah, in the face of Shahada, Imam Hussein alayhi salam shows us that you don't have an excuse. Like you especially us in today's society, we don't have an excuse. Imam Hussein portrayed that. My brothers and sisters, how comprehensive our Sharia is and how it taps into these four important domains. Imam Hussein alayhi salam embodies this divine law. On the night of the 10th of Muharram, let's go to Karbala, my brothers and sisters. Imam Hussein alayhi salam was sitting with his companions, where the Imam gave a famous speech. And he tells his companions, leave. هذا الليل قد غشيكم. I'm telling you, leave. Jurisprudentially, your allegiance to me, I'm telling you, it's all good. Now leave. I accept your deeds. I accept your jihad up until now. These people want me. And of course they all refuse, each one after the other. We'll never leave you, Abu Abdullah. If you were to cut us into pieces. And then in that circle, imagine, my brothers and sisters, Imam al-Hussein is sitting and all of his companions, like a big circle, all of his companions are there. The older men, the Abu Fadl Abbas, Ali al-Akbar, all of the men are there, Habib, Muslim ibn Awsaja. And then there was a young boy who stood up in that circle. He said, my uncle, how can we leave you? Even if death was certain, how can we leave you? What are you asking us to do? You're asking us to leave you, Abu Abdullah? Even if we know tomorrow we're going to die. Look at Imam Hussein's ask. He asks him, he says, Ya Qasim, imagine in front of all of the grown men, all of the companions. This is a testament to my brothers and sisters today here. The 12-year-olds, the 11-year-olds, the 13-year-olds. Qasim was in this age. He stands up. Imam asks him, he says, Ya Qasim, how do you perceive death? Qasim's reply, with you, uncle, with you, Ya Abu Abdullah, I see death as sweeter than honey. In one statement, he portrays his relationship with Allah, his relationship with himself, relationship with society, his relationship with his mission and his purpose, in one sentence. Tonight, my brothers and sisters, is the night of Qasim, the 13-year-old son of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. And when Ashura day came, Yawm al-Ashir, Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam at Fajr would do the adhan. Everyone prayed Fajr Salat, and then one by one Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam's companions would go to the battlefield and they would give their life for Islam. And they all earned their ranks of martyrdom. At Dhuhr time, who was left? The family of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. Qasim, Muhammad, Ali al-Akbar, Abu Fadl al-Abbas, the children of Muslim. The companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, whilst they were alive, they did not allow one family member of Imam Hussein alayhi salam to go onto the battlefield. But now the companions are gone. Aun and Muhammad were keen to fight, and they went, and they never came back to the battlefield. There was no one left except for Qasim. Qasim hears his uncle scream, "Ala min nasirin yansuruna." Qasim goes to his mother and he says to his mother, "I want to fight. Please let me go to my uncle, let me fight." She says, "Go to your uncle and ask for permission." Qasim goes to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. He says, imagine, brothers and sisters, imagine the position of Abu Abdullah, to give permission to my brother's son to die. What a tough decision. He says, "Qasim, you are young. You are the only child of your mother. Qasim, you are my brother's son. Qasim, you are my brother's son. You are in the image of my brother, my darling Qasim. You remind me of my brother Hassan. I can't let you die." The narrations state that Qasim was in distraught. He was devastated. He went to his mother for help. His mother reminded him of the hirz that his father had tied to his arm. Qasim opened the hirz, a letter. He found inside the letter for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Qasim was pleased to see the letter. He rushed, imagine, he goes to his uncle Abu Abdullah. He's rushing, "Uncle, read this letter." Imam al-Hussein reads the letter from his brother Imam al-Hassan, and it states, "Brother Hussein, a day will come when Islam will need to be saved by sacrifice. Brother, I will not be alive on that day. However, my son Qasim will be there. It is my wish that Qasim should represent me on that day." Imagine the heart of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein when he reads this letter. "My dearest Qasim, how can I stop you now?" He takes Qasim to Sayyida Zainab. He tells her, "Zainab, bring our brother Hassan's abaya and turban." Imam dresses Qasim with his brother's abaya, his cloak and turban. Zainab, Imam al-Hussein looks at Zainab. He says, "Zainab, look at Qasim. Doesn't he look so handsome? Doesn't he remind you of our brother Hassan?" Tears flowed from the eyes of Imam al-Hussein and Sayyida Zainab as they remembered their brother al-Mujtaba. Imam then dressed Qasim with the battlefield uniform, with the armor. He gave him his weapon, a young child with a sword that was so big. The narrations state that the sword would touch the ground as he walked. He could not mount on the horse alone. His uncle helped him mount the horse. The young Qasim rode to the battlefield, a rider whose feet did not reach the floor
They did not reach the stirrups, the footstraps on the horse, but he was keen to fight for his uncle. He was the son of Hassan. He was the grandson of Ali. He was trained by Abu Fadl al-Abbas. Qasim rides out to the battlefield screaming, In tankuruni fa'ana najlu al-Hasan, صبت النبي المجتبى والمؤتمن. هذا حسين كالأسير المرتهن بين أناس لا سقوا صوب المزان. And thus young Qasim to his uncle did plead, Uncle, let me fight, let me defend the truth for all to see. Hussein told him, stay with the woman and be no help will remain for them but you and me. Yet Qasim persisted, his heart was firm. He wished to join his father with the sacrifice that was soon to be. As Qasim rode to the battlefield, his face shone like the slice of a moon. He fought with incredible bravery. Hamid ibn Muslim narrates, I watched this young boy dressed in a loincloth shirt and sandals. The strap of his left sandal had broken and he stopped to fix it. He seemed unconcerned with the battlefield. He seemed unconcerned and unworried by the thousands of the enemies. Hamid continues, Amr ibn Sa'd al-Azdi said to me, by Allah, I will strike him. I replied, Subhanallah, what do you want to do with this? By Allah, if he struck me, I wouldn't even raise my hand against him. He's just a young boy. He says, Amr insisted, I will do it. Amr charged to Qasim. He strikes Qasim with his sword. The young boy fell face first onto the ground and he cries out, Amma ya Amma Abdullah adrikni. Imam al-Hussein rushed like a falcon to the aid of his nephew, cutting through the ranks. Enraged like a lion, he struck the killer of Qasim. Imam al-Hussein moved away. The Kufan cavalry charged to rescue Qasim's killer. In the chaos, the horses trampled Qasim with them. In the midst of battle, Qasim did fall, struck down as he fixed his sandals floor. He cried out, help me, my uncle, help me, my uncle, I implore. As Hussein rushed to the bloody floor, as dust around them swirled and twirled, Hussein found Qasim the fallen pal. He cradled the body and tears freely flowed. Pain and sorrow in his heart took hold. When the dust settled, Imam al-Hussein stood over the boy. He stood over the body of his nephew who was gasping his last breath. Baka ونادى يا جاسم اش بيدي يا بكى ونادى يا جاسم اش بيدي يا ريت السيف قبلك حز وريدي. He wept and cried out, oh Jassim, what can I do? Would that sword which pierced my veins before it pierced you. Imam al-Hussein is narrated to have said when he reaches the body of his nephew, يعز على عمك أن تدعوه فلا يجيبك، أو يجيبك فلا يعينك، أو يعينك فلا يغني عنك. Oh Qasim, it pains your uncle that you call him but he doesn't answer, or that he answers but he can't help you, or that he helps you but he can't benefit you. Away with the people who killed you. Imam al-Hussein carries the body of Qasim to the Shuhada and his family, and he prays, oh Allah, you know they invited us to help them, but they betrayed us. They aided our enemies against us. Oh Allah, count them in number, kill them one by one, don't leave any of them, and never forgive them. Be patient, my cousins. Imagine, brothers and sisters, just picture the scene. Picture the scene of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein right now in the final moments. All of the companions have passed, all of his family members have passed, and he walks between the bodies of the Shuhada of Karbala. What is Imam Hussein thinking? But what of the mother who lost Qasim? What of the women and the noble women of the family of Rasulullah? They came to him, they came and surrounded him, they surrounded Abu Abdullah, they were weeping. When his mother Ramla reached him, she threw herself upon him with tears flowing and cries rising, and started screaming, Ya Qasim, Ya Bunay, Bunay, تقضي على شاطئ الفرات ظمآن والماء أشرب صفوة بلا قدر. بني في لوعة خلفت والدة ترعى نجوم الدجى في الليل والسهر. My son, you lay by the Euphrates, parched with thirst, while I drink water pure and untainted. My son, you left a mother in torment, watching the stars of night in a sleepless sorrow. I wished before I carried you to not have had this burden. أنا ردتك ما أرد الدنيا ولا مال ولا مال. أنا ردتك ما أرد الدنيا ولا مال. تحضرني لا وقع ولا مال. يا جاسم خابت ذنوني ولا مال. عند الضيق يا ابني قطعت بيا. In the end, Hussein alone was left to bear the weight of the grief that was left. He left the tent and left the cries behind. The memory of Qasim forever in his mind. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أهل بيت محمد بأي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين.